Hello and welcome. This is your 9 p.m. daily quiz. I hope all of you are doing good. I welcome you all to this session where we discuss the most important news stories for the day, convert them into questions that are probable for the prelims examination, and then ask these questions. The questions and the topics are usually taken from the Hindu newspaper, the Indian Express, the Down to Earth magazine, and the PIB. Before we begin, an important announcement for all of you. The admissions are now open for batch number 2 of the PSIR Comprehensive Life course. So if you have PSIR as an optional subject and if you are looking to take an optional subject which can be PSIR, do check out this. The classes of batch number 2 will begin from 20th of August. These are live classes, about 350 hours of live teaching. The recordings will also be available to you for 1 year. You can watch the recordings whenever you want. I'll also be giving you all the complete notes topic wise. Apart from that, we'll have weekly tests as well as a part of this entire course. If you want any other information about this, feel free to contact me on this number. You can drop a WhatsApp, you can also call me up. All the other information is available on my app. Do download my app. The name is Harshmeet Study Circle. Do let me know if you have any other questions about this course. Let's begin now with the first question. Among the following, who have won a Nobel Prize and has also been the head of the country's government or the state? Again, there are 4 people whose name is given. The first one, if it is hidden, sorry for the editing issue, I'll just write it. This is Aung San Suu Kyi. This is the first option. So who among the following has won a Nobel Prize also and has been a head of their country's government or the state? Aung San Suu Kyi, Barack Obama, Nelson Mandela, or Lester Pearson. So there are 4 people. This is with respect to what is happening next door in Bangladesh. There are 4 people who amongst them have won the Nobel Prize also and have also been the head of their country's state or the government. Think about this. The answer here is all 4. I'm sure 3 you are very familiar with. Aung San Suu Kyi, the leader of Myanmar or the ex-leader of Myanmar. Barack Obama, obviously the US. Nelson Mandela, South Africa. What about Lester Pearson? From Canada. These are the 4 options. All these here are absolutely correct. The answer is as per an article in the Indian Express newspaper. In the Indian Express newspaper, you will have a complete list of people, not all of them, but most of them, who have held the topmost position in their country and have also been given the Nobel Prize. For example, Aung San Suu Kyi served as a de facto head of the Myanmar government from 2016 to 2021. In 1991, she had won the Nobel Peace Prize. Nelson Mandela, you are aware of. Then we also have Lech Walesa from Poland, served as Poland's president from 90 to 95, won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1983. Lester Pearson from Canada had won the Nobel Peace Prize for resolving the Suez Canal crisis. Next question number 2. Consider the following statements with regards to Waqf property in India. As you know, the government of India is trying to bring an important change in the law about the Waqf properties. That is in the news. First, Waqf is a personal property given by Muslims for a specific purpose, religious, charitable, or for private purposes. Second, once a property is declared as Waqf, its character changes forever and cannot be reversed. Third, a Waqf board is a body under the central government which works as a custodian for Waqf properties across the nation. How many of these are correct? Now, this is an important topic, again, with respect to the changes that the government is trying to introduce in the law. With respect to that, first is true, this is what a Waqf property is. It's kind of a charitable property being donated from a Muslim. So, for example, let's say there's a Muslim person who is at the last stages of his or her life and wants to donate the property, does not want to give it to anyone that he or she knows, wants to donate it for a charitable purpose, they can just transfer it to a Waqf. Second is also true. The character changes forever. Third is wrong. Waqf board actually works under respective state governments and not central government. So respective state governments have their own Waqf boards. There is not one single Waqf board for the country. Thus the answer becomes B. 2 of these are correct. 2 of these are correct. There is a detailed article in the Indian Express newspaper about the proposed changes to the Waqf law. Question number 3. Consider the following statements with regards to Antarctica. Number 1. The Antarctic ice sheet, a glacier covering a 98% of Antarctic continent, holds more than 60% of the world's total fresh water. Second, sea ice keeps temperature down in the polar regions since white surface reflects more sunlight or solar energy back to the space than liquid water. Third, sea ice ensures that the air remains cool by acting as a barrier between the cold air and the relatively warmer water below. How many of these are correct with respect to Antarctica? Antarctica has always been a very fascinating and important topic for the UPSC. Multiple questions are asked about the region, the treaties that have been made, the countries that are part of this region, etc. The answer here is C. All the three here are correct. All these three statements for Antarctica are correct. The reason why we have an issue of fresh water is because 60% of the world's total fresh water is just frozen in Antarctica. And the reason why it is in the news is that there has been a sudden increase, or rather a huge increase in temperatures in Antarctica in the past couple of years. That is why Antarctica's deep winter heat wave is being seen. Now, please don't compare Antarctica's heat wave to what you would see in India. Heat wave is usually a difference between the normal temperature and the temperature that they're seeing right now. So it's about the difference in the temperature that matters and not the absolute temperature. Next question, number 3. Consider the following statements. Number 1. Cox's Bazar in Bangladesh is the biggest refugee camp in the world today. Second, India is not a signatory to 1951 UN Convention or 1967 Protocol since India has its own refugee policy. Third, refoulement means no refugee should be returned or shall be returned in any manner to any country where he or she would be at risk of persecution. How many of these are correct? Now, the refugee issue is a big issue in India, especially with respect to our neighboring countries, and now what is happening in Bangladesh. Sheikh Hasina now, as you know, is in India. You can call her a refugee at this point of time, and that is why this topic is in the news. First, Cox's Bazar is considered as the world's biggest refugee camp. Yes, why? Because a lot of Rohingyas are stationed there. So, as you know, Rohingya community is pushed out by Myanmar. Myanmar says that they have entered illegally into our country from Bangladesh, although Bangladesh might not accept the responsibility, but they've still given shelter to a lot of refugees from the Rohingya community in this Cox's Bazar. Second, India is not a signatory to these, that is true, but India does not have its own refugee policy also. India has no refugee policy so far, meaning that on a case-to-case basis, the government decides what to do with refugees. So they may accept some applications, they may not accept some applications because of no policy existing at this point of time. Third, refoulement means no refugee shall be returned. No. Non-refoulement means that no refugee shall be returned. Not refoulement. Non-refoulement, that word means that every country has a responsibility that even if you don't have a refugee policy, if someone comes to your country because their life is in danger in their country, you should not forcefully send them back. That is called the principle of non-refoulement. So the answer here would be A. Only one of them is correct. 2 and 3 here are wrong. A is the correct answer. There is a detailed article on the Indian Express website about Sheikh Hasina in India and what is exactly India's policy towards refugees. Next, question number 5. Which of the following is not true with regards to silicosis? First, silicosis is a respiratory disease which causes softening of the lungs. Second, it is common in construction, mining, oil and gas extraction, kitchen engineering, dentistry, pottery and sculpting. Third, silicosis is a progressive disease and has no cure. And fourth, silicosis can lead to other serious diseases including lung cancer. Silicosis, think about it, it's a disease which affects your lungs mainly. It is because you inhale extremely small particles because of your occupational hazard. Which of these is not true? First, respiratory disease causes softening of lungs. This is the one that is wrong. It causes hardening of the lungs. It causes hardening of the lungs. So as you know, lungs are a very flexible organ. They would have to expand and contract as you breathe. When you take a deep breath, they expand, and when you exhale, they will contract. When the lungs become hard, it becomes difficult for them to carry out this cycle of expanding and then contracting. This is where it can be extremely deadly for you. So the answer here is A. This is the incorrect one. All the other remaining 3 are correct. To end the session today, I have an important piece of information. By the way, this article I have taken from Indian Express. To end the session today, I have an important piece of information. Today, I want to share with you a compiled list of World Heritage Sites from India in a chronological order starting from 1983. which sites have been regarded as the UNESCO World Heritage Site. There's a complete list for your own record. You can keep it with you. It's a pretty long list for India. The most recent ones are Moidams. It is a mound burial system of a home dynasty. Remember, we discussed a question on this also just a few days back. 2023, last year we had Shantiniketan Sacred Ensemble of Hoysalas also given this status. This is the end of today's session. Do hit the like and the subscribe button. If you have any question about my PSIR course, don't forget to contact me on the given number, and there is also the link of my app in the description of the video. You can download that. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Jai Hind.